Hi, everyone. Hope everybody is doing well tonight. I know it's been a long week so far at school, at least it has been for me, and it's only midweek. So I'm happy you're joining us here. All right, so let me just explain a little bit about what we're going to do tonight. So we are going to have a conversation. We are going to talk a bit about Google Classroom, and we're going to get started in just a second with the agenda. So I put the agenda up here. So we are going to have a conversation about signing up, just generally signing up for a teacher, and then getting students signed in as well, joining Classroom, having students join your classroom. We are also going to talk about assigning things. So we'll talk about how you can assign things from the internet, how you can assign multiple things, Drive documents, so documents that you've created or that you've purchased through Teachers Pay Teachers or another site. And then also we'll talk a little bit about Google Forms as well. And obviously I put questions at the end here, but if you have questions throughout, just don't be afraid. There's a chat feature. I don't know if you can see that there, a chat feature. So at any point you could just let me know if you have questions, or if I'm going too fast, let me know, and I'll stop and go over something in a little bit more detail. So whatever you need help with, just let me know, and we'll go from there. So my name is Dan Malt. I'm a third grade teacher, and I've been teaching for 11 years, and I have a really interesting classroom. We have Chromebooks one-on-one. So every student in the third grade and fourth grade at this point, we all have Chromebooks. We just got those in third grade this year. So in past years, we have shared those devices, but this year we are one-to-one. So every student has their very own Chromebook, and they are loving it so far. So without further ado, let's get started here. And like I said, any questions at any point, just let me know, and I'll stop and we'll go over that. So let's see here. We're going to jump right in let me jump over to the internet. Let me see here. There we go. Perfect. Okay. All right. So we're going to get started here. So this right here is the basic Google Classroom platform. So when you go to classroom.google.com, you're going to see something a little different than this, especially if you have not used Google Classroom before. So let me just have a quick conversation about that, and then if you want to let me know in the chat if you're doing this already, if you're using Classroom, or if you're not. That way I can kind of gauge like what information you need to know about as well. So if your school is a Google school, my school is, then basically what happens is the district has already set up all of the student accounts. So we have a Google account, all teachers do, and then all students have one as well. So if that's the situation, then you may be able to skip a couple of steps here. However, I'm still going to go over it for some other people. So if your school is not a Google school, then you will need to have some sort of Google account yourself. Once you come to classroom.google.com, it is going to ask you to sign in just like normal, just your regular Google password, username and password. If your school has set it up for you, then obviously you'll sign in with the school's account. The difference between the two is you're still going to see the same platform. Once you sign in, you will basically see this right here where it says Google Classroom, and then your classes will be listed here, all of your classes that you've created. In the beginning, obviously, you won't see any, which I'll show you how to do that in just a second, how to set that up and get classes in here. However, if you're signing in by yourself, if you've created your own account, if your school is not a Google school, then you will have to log in. And you will have to go through a little bit more of a process here. And I know a lot of people had questions about this in past webinars. If your school has not set up student accounts, then you will need to set up some sort of student account. However, this has happened in a few different ways. I know that you can do it in multiple ways. You can have kids set up your Google accounts based on, you really have to be careful. It is based on, there are laws, obviously, regarding this. But you will need to have parent permission to be able to do that if students are under 13 years old. So, there are forums online. There are places online where you can get that parental permission, the permission slip for parents to sign off. But if your school is a Google school, then you should be pretty much good to go. You will have those student accounts already created for you, and you'll be in the clear. However, if you are making your own account and you're needing your kids to sign up, that is something that I would just urge you. I would just say, go online, find a permission slip, have parents sign off on that, and then you can get the ball rolling with that. It is a little more work, but and that's probably something that you'd probably want to pass by your principal or your administration, or maybe even your tech department as well, just so they can kind of help you out with that. But if you are a Google school, things will be a lot easier for you. So the very first thing we're going to do, once you sign in, like I said, it's classroom.google.com, where you can actually sign in to Google Classroom for the first time. The first time you come here, you're not going to see anything here. You're not going to see any classes. Like I have a couple test classes set up here. And then you'll notice over here in the top right, you'll have the little plus sign. The little plus sign there, that is where you're going to add a new class. So if you want to join a class or create a class, in this situation, if you're brand new, you're going to create a class. So create a class and call it whatever you want. I know, like I said, for those people that are just joining us here, I am a third grade teacher. So basically what happened when I do this, I just made one that says Mr. Malt's class. This isn't my official. This is just a test account, so you guys can see that. However, I just made it, Mr. Malt's class, Mr. Malt's third grade class. I know people in the middle school and high school use this. They have different sections. So if they're only teaching ELA, they might have, ELA period 1, ELA period 2, and so on and so forth. So, you can set it up however you want. You can make as many classes as you want by doing this right here. Okay, so once that's created, I can show you what that looks like. So I'm going to jump into, I'll just jump into Mr. Malt's class here. This is the basic platform. Now, you'll notice that it is very Facebook-like, I suppose. You have your general feed here. Upcoming work is over here. So if you're assigning work to students and you attach a deadline to it, the kids will be able to see all of their work that's due soon. I don't really use that in third grade, to be honest with you. However, I do know people at the middle school and high school, they do use that feature just to keep kids on track. There's also topics down the side here, and then your stream, so you can see deleted items or just see those the ones that are still active. All right, so next I want to talk about getting students signed up. So I'm assuming right now that your students already have an account. Okay, so they already have a Google account because your school has provided that, or you have created them for your kids. So I'm going to assume at this point that's the case. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to jump up here. You have a couple of different options up here: stream, students, and about. So I'm going to jump up to students, and you'll notice right over here on the left-hand side, it says a class code. This is how your kids are going to join. So if your students are, they're logged in, they go to classroom.google.com. They sign in with the account that either your school has created or that you've created. They're actually, let me go back a step because I should have told you this. So let me go back to classes. They're going to join in the similar way that you did. So you have this little plus feature up here where you can join a class or create a class. Students are only going to have join class. So if they click on join class, they're going to be able to type in the class code, which attaches them to your class. So I'm going to go back in here, show you that one more time. Class code, give them this class code. That's going to connect them to your class. Couple of things here. So we have display, copy, reset, or disable. So if you have issues, maybe they're giving it to their brothers and sisters or friends in a different class because they want them in your class, something along those lines, you can reset it. So if you see that that's happening elementary, maybe some of us would have to deal with that. Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with that too much in my third grade. You could reset it if you absolutely need to, if something's gone there, if something's wrong. Display, copy, you can copy it or disable it altogether. So if you don't want anybody else to be able to join your class, you could go ahead and click on disable and you'll be good to go there. Okay. So once they sign in, immediately, if you're in here, you're going to see right here on the screen, you're going to see all of the students who have joined your class. Okay. You have a couple of options over here. You can email the student. You can also invite students. So if you have their email addresses, if it's easier to do that way, I think the class code is just as easy, especially for my third graders. I just popped that code up on the front screen. They signed in and it was easy peasy. So, totally up to you, whatever works for you. But I think putting the class code up on the screen and having them log in that way is probably the easiest. For those just joining us, like I said, if you have any questions, you can go to the chat you know, if I'm going too fast or if you have a specific question, go ahead and ask, and I'll try to answer that question for you. Okay, so joining your classroom, that was pretty much having students join your classroom. Pretty easy to do, not really, you know, anything too complicated there. So hopefully that made sense. Okay, so now once we're in and we have our classroom set up for that class, you have a few different options down here. So let me just take you on a little bit of a tour. So students, I showed you that tab already. About, you have a couple of things here. So you can invite other teachers. Oh, actually, let me start at the top here. So your class drive folder. When you create a brand new classroom in Google Classroom, there's going to be an option for class drive folder. So you have your Google Drive, right? So if I click on class drive, it's going to take me over here to my Drive account. And just need to move something out of the way here. It's going to take me to this. These are it's going to make a folder for every single assignment that I assign the kids. So if I'm assigning them a project, like you can see here, I have this KWL for Canada. If I have KWL and I assign that, each one of the kids is going to get their own file. So if I open that up, I only had one student in this test class, so that's what you're seeing here. But for, you know, if you have 25 kids in your class, you're going to see 25 copies of that on your screen, where you can open that up and see the work that they did. So you can see here, this is a KWL. Obviously, it's, you know, it's just a test, so nobody filled it in. But it would be real time as well. So basically, what would happen here is if, you know, a student is going and typing in information about, you know, maybe China, they're researching China. What do they want to know and learn? So if they're typing in here, they could be typing in. I would see that in real time. We could also give each other feedback. I can edit this as well. So if the student is working on it, I can go ahead and type something in there as well. Now, the great thing over on the side over here too is if I highlight something, I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. I could also start commenting on their work as well. So that is an option. You can do that right inside of here. So once again, let me go back here. So if you are in your Google Classroom, go to About, and then go over to Class Drive folder. It's going to open up the folder which is in Google Drive, and every assignment that you've ever given the kids in Google Classroom is going to show up here in a separate folder. Okay, you can go in there, edit, like I said, see what the students have done. So that's a really cool feature. You have access to all of their things all the time. I'm not sure why that's misspelled though. Over here it is spelled correctly, but here it's misspelled. But anyways, classroom calendar. So if you want to share something with the kids on a calendar, if you want to share a calendar with them, you can put dates in there. That's also going to pull dates from your stream as well. So like if they have due dates coming up, if you put it in there, it's going to show up on the classroom calendar too. Let's see here. Down a little bit further, it does show email address. This is me, the teacher, and then also invite teachers. So the invite teacher is actually, it comes in handy. This year I have a classroom. I have 6 kids who are in a 611, and they're in my class for about a half an hour a day, and then they're out for the rest of the day. So the invite teacher works out really well because the special ed teacher, she still wants to know what we're doing, and she wants to be able to modify and help out the kids in with the assignments that I assign here. So I can invite her. I can click on that, put in her email address, and then she's kind of like a co-teacher here. So I would be able to, I would be the head teacher. I can post stuff. She can actually post stuff too, but she would just have the ability to, to be that dual teacher or that co-teacher in this section of the classroom. If I invite her here, she's not a co-teacher for all the rest of my classes, only for this specific class. So you can add as many teachers as you want. If you have a few teachers that you want to, throw in there, you could definitely do that as well. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the things here that you can do. Oh, move this out of the way again here. All right, so over on the right-hand side, there is there's a little button, the little plus sign. You don't even need to click it. If you just hover over it, there's a few different options there. So there's create announcement, an assignment, a question, or you have the ability to reuse an old post as well. Okay. So let me just create an announcement. I'm just going to click on that. So truly this is really just an announcement, just to let the class know Maybe you just want to say something along the lines of, hey, don't forget you have a test tomorrow, just to, to remind them when they log in. For elementary, I've never really used the announcement before. I mean, you definitely can. Probably middle school, high school, I'm assuming uses a lot more. But for me, I don't really use this feature, the announcement. But just know it is there. Then we have create assignment. I'm going to come back to that one in a second. Create question. So if I click on create question, this one really is. It's honestly just a very quick. If you just have a quick question that you want to ask the kids, you want to get some immediate feedback from them. This is also good for like an exit ticket. You can just pop in a question, type your question. If you have specific instructions, you can put it there. If you want to set a due date, you could do that as well. And then right below that, it says short answer or multiple choice. So if you want to give them, something that you just want, maybe it's just a quick question that you want to ask about something that you did in math that day, you could do a multiple choice question in there as well. There's a little toggle here. Students can reply to each other, or students can edit answers. Totally up to you if you leave those on. I should have mentioned this. The other thing that you can do here is you can do all students if you want to. Obviously, right now I only have one student in there. Once you have a bunch of them in there, you can select who you want that to go with. So this is, and I think one of the best things that I have found with Classroom is the differentiation factor is just amazing. Like, you can totally differentiate so easily because you're able to just click on the kids that you want this to go to. And I'll show you where that comes in handy in just a quick second here. So anyways, this is asking a question. Okay. Like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. So if I go down to create assignment, this is the one that I use the most, only because there's more that I could do with this. So let me show you a couple of things that you can do with create assignment first, and then I'll tell you other things that I share in Google Classroom too. So here's an assignment, and it looks almost identical to ask question, except it obviously doesn't have the multiple choice or the short answer option there. So I have who do I want this to go to? All right. Oh, and that's important too. So if you're creating an assignment and you want it to go to more than one class, maybe you have 5 or 6 sections of the same ELA class, you can click on as many classes as you want, and this assignment will be posted to all of those kids. Okay. Or specific kids. So if I click on both of these and click on, oh, actually, you know what? It doesn't look like I can do that. I can't click on students when I do that. No. Yeah. Okay. So it would go to both classes, and it would go to every student in there. But notice if I just click on this one class and then I click on students, it does let me select. Okay. All right. Yeah, because I've never used that feature before. So apparently, if you click more than one class, you have to assign it to all students. Okay. Okay. All right. So in here, you have a few different options here. So you can title it, give instructions. Down below, I have the attachment. So if you have some sort of PDF, or if you have, a well, I shouldn't say PowerPoint actually, because that'll come in a second. Yeah, I guess maybe like a PDF or some other sort of file, maybe even a picture that you want to attach to this. You could go and attach it. It would open up on your computer. You could select a file from your computer to attach it for the kids. The next one is a Google Drive. So anything that you have in your Google Drive, you could search and you could attach it to this so the kids could see it. And then we have a YouTube video. This is actually really nice. So you could do a video search, or you could do a URL. So if you're already on YouTube and you know the URL, you could just highlight that and copy it in here, or you could actually just do a video search as well, and it will pop that up. The wonderful thing about this, I know a lot of schools, especially in my area, I'm not sure about you guys, but a lot of schools don't let students go on YouTube. However, my school does. So we allow students to go on YouTube, but the wonderful thing here is they can't get distracted by everything else, because if you share a video in Google Classroom, the only thing they can see, the video pops up, there is nothing else. There's no links, there's no, you know how like after you're done with the video, it says like, these are all the things that that you might be interested in. It doesn't give the kids any of that. So it just gives the kids the video, and that is it. There's no distraction anywhere else for the kids. So that's a pretty cool feature here as well. And then a link. So if you want to share a link with the kids, you could do that here too. And then you can assign. So I want to show you. So this is something that I've created. I've created a lot of documents in Google Slides that I share with the kids. So I'm going to jump over and I'm just going to show you, I'll show you the winter games. Okay, so we have digital winter games, just to, to get the kids thinking about the Olympics coming up, get them a little interested. So in these documents, and a lot of things that if you buy anything from Teachers Pay Teachers and it is a digital resource, you'll basically get something like this with a link in it. So if you click the link, I'll show you what happens here. This pops up and it says, hey, do you want to copy the document? So it forces you to copy the document. I'm going to make a copy. It automatically goes into, hopefully, there we go. It automatically opens up and it saves a copy of this resource. It saves a copy in your Google Drive. Notice up here it does say copy. I usually take that off for the kids just so it's Winter Games 2018. All right, now that that's there, I'm going to get rid of this and I'm going to show you why. So I'm going to jump over and I'm going to go back over to my classroom. And now I'm going to go back down to that plus sign and I'm going to do create assignments. I'm going to type this, I'm going to name this Winter Games, and I'm going to say click the link below and follow directions. Okay, because there's directions already included inside of it, so I don't really need instructions here. All right, so now I'm going to go to Google Drive. I'm going to click on that Google Drive icon right here, and you'll notice, this is the coolest thing, I love this, that the first thing that pops up, because I'm clicked on recent, the first thing that pops up is the thing that I just copied. Sometimes it can be kind of a hassle to search for it, and then you're like, what did I name the thing? Like, I don't know what it, I don't know what it was. So if you do recent, it'll show you the thing that you copied into your Google Drive folder, the most recent thing that you'll see. So I'm going to double click that, and you'll notice that it attaches that here, okay? Now this is super important, and if you're taking away anything tonight from this, this is the thing that I messed up the most in the beginning. I just shared it, and that was the end of it. However, that's not the end of it. So you need to make sure that you do this. So if you click on this little arrow right over here, there's 3 options. So it says student can view file, student can edit file, or make a copy for each student. So the first one, students can view the file. That is, it's what it sounds like. They can only see the file. They can't do anything to it. They can't change it. They can just look at it. So if you're sharing some sort of a presentation of some sort that you've made in Google Slides and you just want them to read it, fine, that's great. The next one is students can edit file. That one, all of the kids that I'm assigning this to, they're all able to edit my original file. So the file that you're sharing with them, all of them are going to be able to collaborate. That's great sometimes because maybe you want to do a project where you want all of the kids to work on the same document. I would tell you this, and I would caution you, be very careful with that, because if you are sharing that original file with elementary school students, all of them are doing it and they're deleting each other's work, and they're exit, and it's all on accident. I mean, I have a really good class this year, and it was a nightmare the first time that I did this. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds great because we can collaborate and the kids could work together. It didn't work out like that. They kept deleting the information. They were accidentally deleting someone's text boxes, someone else's text boxes, and I had kids like raising their hand and they're saying that all their work was gone. And yes, there's an undo button. However, it was just way too messy. So maybe it'll work with your kids, maybe middle school, high school, but for me, it didn't really work out well with my 3rd graders. So the next option down here, it says make a copy for each student. So if you want this to go to every single student in your class, fantastic. Now, I would tell you this, and this is something that I've done a lot of. There are times where I want kids to work with a buddy on this. So what I'll do is I'll say make a copy for each student. Half of my class has a Chromebook. And what will happen then is every kid gets, all of those kids get that document, get this document, and then that student can share that document with somebody else in their class using their email address, and I can show you how to do that. That way, only 2 kids are working on one document at a time. I hope that makes sense. So every kid basically gets a copy. However, only half the kids are opening up that file and then sharing the document with a buddy. So that way only 2 or 3 kids are working on that document at one time. And like I said, I'll show you how to do that. So make a copy for each student. And now if I go ahead and assign, it's going to give when the students receive this, they go to the Google Classroom page, click on that link, and it's going to open their own copy of this. So it forces a copy on each one of the students. All right. You have a couple options there too. So assign, schedule, or save draft. Totally up to you. If you want to schedule it because you want to give it tomorrow at some point, you could do that. But let's go ahead and assign. There we go. Okay, perfect. So now you can see also that it says done and not done. Right now, like I said, I only have one student in this class. However, if there were a bunch, you would see, you would see the number there. And once they finish that, it would go off and it would, they would be able to mark it as done and it would say how many kids are done. So I'll click on that again so I can kind of show you what this is, because this is like my new favorite type of activity. I've been making a lot of these, especially for social studies. I call them Explore and More for social studies. And basically what the kids do is they're just researching activities, but they're also able to type right inside of here as well. So it's a nice digital thing, digital activity for the kids to do, where they're reading a little bit of information, seeing some cool visuals. And then after that, they're jumping over and they can actually type in here. So I have some questions in there. They can write some answers right inside of the document as well. All right. So like I said, this one is about the Olympics. So they will be able to learn a bit more about that. So something else I include in these, which actually my kids really enjoy, and if you have Chromebooks, these are really nice. I'm not sure if anyone's used the Google Earth yet. Google Earth it used to be a desktop version, so you used to have to download it on computers. But with Chromebooks, you can't do that. So there's Google. Last year, I think it was, they came out with a desktop, or I'm sorry, an online version of that. So check this out here. I can click on, so it says an overview of South Korea. If I click on this, it opens up Google Earth, and it is a little slow to load sometimes. We'll see how it's doing today. And these are preset coordinates. Oh, okay, that wasn't too bad. I included in that document, in these documents that I give the kids, I include like preset coordinates, so it takes them right to it. So then if they can just click the fly button, it takes them right down, and they can check that out. If you haven't used this version before, you can also see that there's a little Pegman. I can click on Pegman and drag them over anywhere that's blue. So you can kind of see like some of the areas that are all blue here. So if I jump over, I'm going to drag them right down here. Did I drag them? Yes, I did. Okay. So it drags it right down, and it shows them, it takes them right to a specific place. Now with the Olympic one, and I'll show you in a second because this is actually really cool. Okay, so then the kids can actually, they can browse around a little bit and check out check out some famous or some pretty cool places in South Korea. I'm going to jump back over here and show you one more because I think this is really cool. Let's go to the Olympic Stadium. So it's the Pyeongchang Olympic Stadium. So I'm going to click on that one. And it takes me right to the Olympic Stadium. And as of last week when I made this, it was like they were doing updated views of it because obviously it's changing a lot in this week coming up leading up to the let's see here. Let me see if I can jump right in there. Leading up to no street available there. Let's see here. Let's see. So anywhere that's blue, you should be able to go. Let's see here. Yeah, that's probably not a great view. But anyways, they get to see, maybe things that they weren't able to see, that they weren't not able to see, in the past. I'm trying to flip around here. Here we go. Okay. All right. So yeah, there we go. So you can kind of see like this is, a part of over in the distance here. You can kind of see the Olympic Stadium and all that good stuff. So anyways, it's just kind of a fun little thing where the kids can kind of, jump in and, I always tell the kids, I'm like, oh, this is a nice little virtual field trip. So, anyways, that is what the kids would see once they open that up. So that's how you would share a document like this. Now let me jump over. I'm not sure if anyone uses Newsela or Newsela, but I'm logged into mine here, and I'm just going to see if, let's see here. So I'm just going to jump down. I'm just going to pick Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champs for the first time. Okay, so I click there. And you'll notice this isn't my official account because, like I said, I usually use my school account. But anyway, so here's this. Now, if you've used this before, you know how cool it is. You can change the Lexile level, so you can change the level for the kids. This is what I was talking about. Like the differentiation that you can do here with Newsela and Google Classroom is like the easiest thing ever. So last year, when I didn't have Chromebooks for all of my kids, basically what was happening was I had to, I was printing these off and I was printing different levels or, it was kind of a pain to do. It was a hassle. But with Google Classroom, it's super easy. So I can change the Lexile. I'll change it to the 950. And then notice it does say grade level 6 here. This little share button up here, I could click that, click on Google Classroom. Notice what happens. It opens up a new tab, and there's my classes. So those are my classes. As long as you're logged in, these will show up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click Mr. Malt's class, select action. I'm going to create an assignment. There's a go button over in the corner. Click on go, title it. So I'll say Super Bowl champs. Let's see. So, and then for the instructions, I'll say read and completes the quiz. Okay. Now, the great thing about this, like I said, the easy way that you can differentiate here, once you have your full class in there, you just select the students that you want that 950 Lexile the assignment to go to. Now, you could just click assign, and it's going to go to their feed. It's only going to those students' feed, so only the kids that I selected here under all students, if I click those students, those 4 or 5 students that I want this to go to because it's a higher level passage, then I assign it, it's only going to be on their wall. So after I do that, I jump back over to New ZLA. I have some kids that are maybe, they're a little bit lower readers. They're at a 520 level. Assign, Google Classroom, Mr. Malt's class, create an assignment, go. And now I would just basically same exact thing, but here I would select this, the other students that I wanted this article to go to. So it makes it so easy to differentiate for kids. It's not even funny. And the great thing is they don't even know. Like the kids have no idea. They know they're all reading a story about the Super Bowl, and that's all they know. They don't know that that they each have a different level unless they're working together. However, with this particular activity that I usually assign for, I don't have them working together for this one, but just makes it really nice. Okay, last thing I'll show you here. Actually, I have like 2 more things to show you. So this right here is Khan Academy. I'm not sure if anyone's used Khan Academy before. So the Khan Academy, I pre-searched. I came over here. I logged in with my Google account. You make sure you're using the same Google account that you're logged in for your Google Classroom. And I just searched a video on division. So if you scroll down a little bit, there is a button underneath the video. It says Google Classroom. Same exact thing. So you can see here, I hope this is showing you this. So this is same exact thing. It opens up the little box here, Mr. Malt's class, choose your action, create an assignment, and then go. Once again, it's just basically it's going to, you can select your students and click on assign. So if you have a couple of students that are really struggling with division, then just assign the video to those kids. And it's going to be on their wall forever. So if in a week they forget again or they're having a struggle and they come up to you and say, hey, I forget how to do this problem, all you have to say is, hey, go back to your Google Classroom. Remember, I shared that video with you about division. They can watch this particular video is 8 minutes, so maybe that one's a little long, but you find a video that works and share it in Google Classroom, and it's there forever. And the kids are struggling a month down the road, they can go back and check that out. So that makes it great for me, easy for me, but also what it does for the kids is just it's totally incredible, the power of that, and it relieves so much of that pressure off of me because there's one of us in a classroom and it's just it's super hard to to deal. I only have 15 kids this year, but in past years I've had 25, 26, and this would be such a huge help for that. So that's something else you can do. There's a lot of websites right now where there is you'll see your share button, and if it's an educational website, a lot of them have that option now for Google Classroom. So you can just share easily within Google Classroom. Okay, let's see here. Now I do want to quickly show you, and I know somebody asked, and I can't remember last week who asked me this, if we were going to cover Google Forms. I will show you Google Forms. I'm not going to go into full detail, but I'll show you very quickly a couple of things that I've done in here, and I'll show you very quickly how you can make a form as well to test out your kids. If you're giving an assessment or a quiz or an exit ticket, something like that. It's a very simple way to do that. So Google Forms, if you haven't used it before, you can go to forms.google.com, and you'll notice that there's a few different options up here. So when you first logged in, it says blank quiz, exit ticket, assessment, worksheet, or course evaluation. So because Google is very smart and they know that you are an educator, this will work out for you, and they kind of give you those options up front. So I can kind of show you one of these here, what a Google form would look like. So this one, it's a test on there, and there. And basically what you're going to do here is name your quiz. Once you open this up, you know what, I should show you a brand new one just so you can kind of see what that looks like. Let me jump back here. I'll show you what a brand new quiz looks like, and then I'll show you one of my completed ones. So I'm going to do blank. And notice it's just, you know, pretty standard, pretty basic here. So this one, let's call it there, and there quiz. Okay. Form description, you don't have to put that in. Untitled question. So the first thing I'll do here is I'll say name. I want this to be a short answer. Oh, actually, you know what? Like I said, Google's very smart. It knows if I type name, it automatically changes it to short answer. Couple of options, a couple of things you need to do here. So we're going to say required. And up here, there's a little gear. I'm going to click on this gear and notice that on the quizzes tab, we do need to turn it on to make sure that Google knows that it is actually a quiz. Okay. And I'm going to save that before we go any further. All right, the next option down here, I can duplicate this question, and now I can say, let's see, I'll say, are 2 dogs in the yard? Okay, so now I put a blank there. So for the multiple choice question, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say there, and there. Okay. All right, so I'm just giving you the very basic tutorial here of how to do this. If you have questions, I can always answer them afterwards, or I can actually, you know, if you want me to do a webinar in the future just about Google Forms, I could definitely do that. But notice I just made just a quick quiz question. The answer key, I'm going to select answer key, and I'm going to select there. Should have probably capitalized all 3 of those as well. And you can also do the point value. So I'm just going to make this 1 point, and I'm going to go back to add a question. So now I can actually share this document same way we did before. So I can create an assignment and then share this document, because after I make this, it's going to be in my drive, my Google Drive. I'll be able to share this with kids, and they can take this, and I immediately get grades, okay, which I'll show you in just 1 second. So I'm just going to leave it as this 1 question right now. I'm also going to call this, we'll call it there quiz. And I'm going to get out of there. It automatically saves, which is the great thing about Google. I'm going to jump over here, and now basically what I would do, and I don't actually have to do it, but I can show you how I would do it. Create assignment, and I would go to my Google Drive, and you know what? I think it was in a different account there. Let's see, I wonder if I have one here. Let's see if I have there. Let's see if I can search this and I can find it here. PDF. Yeah, those are PDFs. That's not quite what I want. You know what? Let me jump back over here, and I'm going to go grab a copy of a test so you can see what it would look like. Digital resources. 1 second. Bear with me while I grab this for you so I can show you what it would look like. Okay. All right. So I'm going to jump back over, copy that in. Okay, well, hopefully it makes a copy here. Guess the internet's, there we go, perfect. Okay, all right, so now that it's in there, I selected nouns and not there, but that's okay. I'm gonna jump back over, click out of here, Google Drive, recent. Okay, so you can see right there, it says pretest nouns. I selected nouns instead of there. Sorry about that. But anyways, I shared that in here. If I assign this, the kids are going to be able to get that test, and they'll be able to take it, and I'll get the results in real time. So I'll show you. I'm going to jump back over and show you what this would look like here. In my forms, this is the one that I want. Oh man, you know what? I was in a different account before. Anyways, once you give the quiz, once you give the test, you will be able to see all of their results. That's very simple to do. But basically, those are the basics of how I would create a test and how I would share it the same way that I shared, you know, the other things in here as well. Now, something that I will tell you is this. If I share a form, I'm going to let's see here. I'm just going to do the pretest nouns again. Notice that there's not an option over here. You know how before we did the Google Slides and it said, do you want to make a copy for every student? For forms, you don't need to. It automatically does, okay? So here you'll notice, there was that little arrow right here where I could click on that and say, make a copy for every student. For Google Forms, if you're doing forms, you don't need to. It automatically does that. Yeah, and if anybody is interested, I mean, if you're looking to save some time, like I said, I'm a third grade teacher. On Teachers Pay Teachers, I have 28 pre-tests and post-tests in a bundle of grammar and reading assessments. And I also have, for third grade, I have every topic that we cover in math. I have a pre-test and a post-test in a bundle for every single topic that we cover in math as well. So those are available for, like I said, for math and for ELA / grammar and reading are kind of bundled together. So they're all made for you already. So basically all you would do is just copy that into your Google Drive. Okay, all right, so that was a lot. That was a lot of information. Does anyone have any questions? Do you have any questions at this point? Something that I wasn't clear on? Anything that you're wondering about? Any questions? If you have a question, just go ahead and throw it in the chat. That is pretty much it. There's probably a lot more. However, that's a basic overview of what we're looking at with Google Classroom, and how you would at least get started with Google Classroom. I think what you'll find, I was really worried about third graders using Google Classroom, and I thought it would be very difficult for them. It was seamless, to be honest with you. The kids picked it up very quickly. The kids really know more than I do, and I kind of know a lot about technology, but I mean, they really did a good job with this, and they're brilliant with figuring things out quickly and problem solving their way through it. So, I urge you, I know it's a little overwhelming in the beginning, but I urge you to, try it out, because I think the kids will really enjoy it. And like I said, the best part for me, it's just the ability to differentiate for students. It's just so simple to do that with Google Classroom. So thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, let me know. Like I said, on Teachers Pay Teachers, I have a bunch of those Explore and More activities, and I also have like all those assessments in there as well. So if you want to, try one of those, I have a few free ones in there too. So if you just want to try those out, you can download it for free. A couple of the quizzes, just to kind of see how that works and play around with it. That way you can bring it right into Google Classroom and get started with that. You could definitely do that. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much. Have a good night.